All right, hello everyone. Today let's talk about the consumption function. So at its core, the consumption function is essentially a slope-intercept form style of equation. So you notice that C is equal to MPC times Y minus T plus AC. So each of these different parts mean different thing. You notice that the MPC acts very similar to the MX plus B part, and the AC is that intercept. So first off, MPC is this something called a marginal propensity to consume. So essentially, if I have $1 and I want to consume half of it, then my marginal propensity to consume is half. So it's this ratio between savings and spending. Next up is Y minus T. So Y stands for our income / our output, and T stands for taxes. So if I get a certain amount of income, then when I take taxes out of that, what I'm left is disposable income. Finally, autonomous consumption. So no matter what, even if I have zero disposable income, I still need basic necessities to live. And so I will always have a certain amount of consumption, no matter how small that consumption is. And it's going to be fairly constant throughout because I still need to eat X amount of food every day. And so even if I have no disposable income, I still try to find a way to eat that food or consume a certain amount of product. So throughout this, let me move this down here. So throughout this video, I'm going to be working with this specific table. So we're just going to be trying to fill this in, answer a couple questions. So first off, we notice our equation here is still C is equal to MPC times Y minus T plus AC. So first off, let's talk about this MPC. MPC is this marginal propensity to consume, but you can find that by taking the change in C divided by the change in Y. So first off, the change in C. You just choose two lines, and then you take the difference between them. So 320 minus 240 is equal to 80. The change in Y, once again, you take two lines. You take 400 and 300, 500 and 400. Essentially, you just want to choose the same lines as you choose the C. So for example, if you choose the third line and the fourth line, you're going to want to use the third line and the fourth line for Y as well. But in this case, we're only using these first two lines here, which is 240 and 320. So we're going to use 300 and 400. And when we take the difference, that's 100. And so 80 divided by 100 is 0.8. So the MPC is 0.8. So I'm going to move that up. Next up, let's talk about Y minus T, which is disposable income. Essentially, what you have is you have to find taxes, right? So you just take the difference between Y and T. But taxes, we don't know what taxes is for the rest of these rows. But in this class, we just assume taxes are constant. So we just bring the 100 down all the way. Now, taxes can be any amount that's given to you on the exam. So if if it says T is equal to 200, then the entire column of T is 200. So now I'm just going to take the difference. So it's just some basic arithmetic. So 300 minus 100 is 200. 400 minus 100 is 300, 500 minus 100 is 400, and 600 minus 100 is 500. Okay. So next up, let's talk about autonomous consumption. So notice here that I wrote an equation for autonomous consumption, which is equal to C minus the MPC times Y minus T. If you notice, for any equation, you can just move things around, right? So notice that we're adding this whole MPC Y minus T thing to AC. So if I just subtract that to the other side, then I have C minus the MPC Y minus T. And so all I need to do is I need to plug in this equation or plug in this new equation that we got to find the autonomous consumption. But there's so many numbers here and we don't really know which to go. So the trick is that you just choose one line. So we're going to choose this first line, which is 240. C is 240, so I plug in 240. 0.8 is the MPC, and Y minus T is 200, right? So it's 240 minus 0.8 times 200, which is equal to 80, right? So our autonomous consumption now is 80. So you can do this with any line. So let's go back. So for example, I can do this at the 320. So it'd be 320 minus 0.8 times 300. So 320 minus 240 is still 80. So no matter what line you choose, you always get the same amount because AC is constant. Next up, let's just try to fill in the rest of this table. So we're just going to choose C and plug things in. So C is equal to 0.8, which we already figured out. 400, which is that line that we're trying to figure out, plus 80, which is constant. So this is 0.8 times 400, which is 320, plus 80 is 400. Next up, let's do this for 500. So 0.8 times 500 plus 80. And so that's 0.8 times 500 plus 80, which is equal to 480. And so all you need to do is just be very familiar with how the equation works. Remember that the MPC is the change in consumption divided by the change in Y. Y minus T is disposable income. And autonomous consumption is constant, which can be found by plugging in one line on the table into the equation. So that's going to be a pretty short video for today. But overall, as we move forward in this course, this equation will be pretty useful in what you want to do in the class. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Thank you.